now we're on Keel,
Hi, everyone.
and you can see the stratosphere.
Yes,
In-
we are in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that is the stratosphere in the distance.
Yes,
And this is
yes.
Seagull Squeaks.
And actually, we are doing 8 major points in emotion today by viewer choice. So, thank you for all our followers out there following us. And we appreciate it. And this is for you 8 major points, spiritual points on emotion. Number 1 is
Emotions follow the spiritual, and that's why it's so important that you have some passion behind what you say. Emotions are what gives you the sincerity, the conviction, and that's what makes things happen in this world.
and why they power the spiritual is because of the energy. Once energy gets moving with an emotion, it becomes it becomes something. So if you have a lot of emotion that is passionate, those are going to drive you in directions that will lead those passionate things that you are fueling in the emotion.
If you have ever heard, the emotional, passion, spiritual subject, you'll know what we're talking about. Like Martin Luther King, when he made speeches, he didn't do them in a monotone. He put a lot of passion and feeling behind them, so they had a lot of spiritual impact.
And people could feel the passion through what he was saying and his emotions and the delivery of the emotions. But here's number 2. Feelings are not facts. They're not facts until you put logic and reason into the emotion.
Yeah, a lot of times, one's intuition, a lot of times you'll pick up on feelings or you have feelings about a certain thing, but the feelings are related to the ideas and the situations in your past that it triggers when you connect with the feelings, and they're not always accurate. People can have intuition that's really messed up or wrong. So it's important to always question your intuition and check how accurate it is and how tuned it is. Mean that feeling isn't distorted or something from your experiences of the past.
Correct. Don't assume that what you are feeling is what the other person is feeling. And also check your gut intuitions, because as you are learning to trust your gut, you also have to question and make sure that that gut intuition is on point with what you're feeling and what you are really tuning into.
In the way a person develops their intuition is by using it and then checking to see if it's working right. So what you do is you will have to gamble a little bit and say, well, if it's correct, I'll have to ask the person if it's correct, probably. Am I in the ballpark? Or you have to see whether, when you do an action or whatever, based on your intuition, how well it works.
Yes, you always get facts behind those things that you are feeling.
Because a lot of times intuition is not correct. A lot of people are prejudiced, biased, way off.
And they use their ego as well. That gets into the way of that gut intuition being correct. To feelings are not facts. Number 3, all emotion have positive and negative spectrums. And that means you got something, worked hard for it, and you're want that, but you're going to work hard for it. And then you have jealousy, which means that you don't want to do the footwork. You're just jealous of what that person has. That's the negative aspect of the emotion. But the positive one is the envious, because it gives you that motivation to really work for something, really try to get what that person might have.
And the thing is, some people will demonize hate and they'll put love on some kind of pedestal. So love is always positive, always is a good thing. But people love their addictions. They love a lot of things that are not good for them.
Yeah.
And they'll hate. Hate is a thing in which, if you don't hate the injustices in the world, if you don't hate what's wrong with the world, nothing will change. People who have gone through really bad situations and are angry about what happened, they can channel their anger into a cause to correct the problem. So anger is a way of making things better if you direct it in a positive way.
And that goes into number 4, and that is only one emotion can dominate at a time. And that means you can have a whole wide range of emotions, but only one can dominate your feelings, your state of mind at that time.
Yeah, because you have to have a focus, and emotions provide the focus, and you can be angry, and at the same time you're looking around, and there's a certain amount of fear involved while you're angry. And that combination of, you can have anger in the forefront to try to deal with the situation, and the fear is telling you, you better do it this way or that way, or you're going to get into trouble. So sometimes you can have two emotions, but one will be dominating. It means I have to act, I have to be angry, and I have to get going on this. But the fear is there. It's not stopping you from acting. So anger is working, because anger gets you to action, but the fear is telling you, watch your step a little bit, be careful here.
Exactly.
And if the fear gets stronger than the anger, then that shows slow down and really watch your
Yes,
step.
exactly. And then talking about communication with others, sometimes you have anger and you're mad. Maybe they hurt your feelings. So you go back and forth from being angry, and then you go to your feelings being hurt. But understanding that your emotions are literally valid in how you feel. You can balance those emotions going randomly at like an arrow, just keep throwing the different emotions at you, hate and then feeling bad, and emotions at you, hate and then feeling bad, and then you can have control of how you are feeling, of how you are feeling.
So you can express it in a positive way. You can express it in a positive way. Like a lot of people say you shouldn't fear. Well, fear is not a problem if you can handle the fear, and you can be very careful, and you can be aware of danger. We live in a precarious world, and you go in the street around here in Vegas, you better have a certain degree of fear and awareness of the possibility that you could get in trouble with all these people out there.
There's a lot of people on the streets that can be very dangerous if you don't watch where you're going, watch where you walk.
But if you're careful and you watch yourself, then you don't have to be as fearful, because you know you're on guard, you know you're watchful, you know what's going. You pick up the energy, and then you have a course of action, of course, behind it.
Which goes into number 5, which is all emotions are present inside a person, and it's up to that person to act upon it. See, we have emotions out here. There's people rageful out here. They're on the streets. They're full of rage, but they don't have to act upon that rage. It's up to that person to act upon that rage or not. Or when you're mad at something, you've had a bad day, you don't want to take it out on your wife or your kids or your family, but sometimes it overloads us into the fact that we have all those emotions present.
That's when fear gets too strong. It's when you get frozen by it, which is a proper way to do. There are certain steps you need yourself to be careful.
Or speak up, because there's a lot of times that people just walk on by and they don't speak up for the injustices of the world. And it's important to have a voice, and it's important to show those emotions that you really do care. And you do want to make these for a better world for all of us. So number 6 is thoughts impact your emotions. It's a fine line, but in the applications of things, which Tom will explain totally, but thoughts really do affect your emotions.
And we do have spiritual programming inside of us, and a lot of people have very locked in spiritual programming, so that they don't have a lot of flexibility to adjust to reality very well. And that has a lot to do, if you're going to do that fine line spiritually, where you balance the emotions well, and you do the right thing, you get your intuition really tuned in. You have to have spiritual theories. I like to use the word theories, because they're not locked in. They can always get worked on.
And you can change them.
That interface well with reality, so that you'll get the right and appropriate emotions for the right situations out there. So you won't be feeling fear when you should feel anger or whatever. You got to have the right emotion to adjust to the reality and be more effective in this reality.
and the proper control when things happen, because energy cannot be used unless you have a reaction and use your emotions. So even in the thought of someone at work, or just someone you love, someone, even a friend, and they trigger you into an emotion that, let's say, makes you mad or sad, or anything that affects the reaction of them. If you don't have a reaction that's toxic, then they have no power over you. If you understand your triggers, if you understand your control, if you understand your triggers, if you understand your controls, then you can understand how to walk away from other people that might be draining your energy or wanting to use those emotions against you.
But we live in a world where there is a real fine line where you have to, in order to do the right thing. It's difficult. And you have to question yourself, as we said earlier. You can't be too overconfident.
Right.
Because that's when you get into trouble in the world. That's why you're talking about like tightrope walking, the fine line.
Right.
Don't get overconfident. Try to have try to do things in a way that's reasonable based on the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes into number 10 with traumas and triggers of those emotions, and the vice versa, because honestly, you can get emotions that trigger different things of your trauma, and then you can have things that trigger the emotions of the trauma. But understanding your emotions, understanding the balance, understanding where the emotions are coming from, why they're coming from, why you feel them, why you've learned from them. Those are all great things to watch, the red flags of emotions, of your triggers, of things that get you reacting in passionate ways. Or, it could be reacting in violent ways if you're not sure of why those triggers are happening to you.
And you can't really develop a really effective emotional intensity if you have these traumas that come up, because they're going to make it so that at a certain point you lose it. You're gonna be triggered, and you're gonna go off on some tirade or something, and you're no longer going to be effective. So it's important to heal your emotions and make them healthier and strong. Be able to handle stronger emotions, things triggering you in a negative way, because we're always it's constant growth when it comes to the spiritual. You don't want to get locked into a certain level, because it's like a spiral. You're constantly going through cycles. You constantly to grow, and it's a cycle of abuse that comes a lot of times with trauma. You're going to break the cycle of abuse, because anybody in that cycle of abuse has an abusive nature, even if it's accepting abuse to themselves.
Exactly. To understand that as you are healing and growing with the emotions and the spiritual reprogramming that we're talking about, being aware of those emotional triggers, of those emotional traumas, you can heal in understanding that those aren't part of you now. As you grow out of old shoes or old clothes, you can heal and grow.
And that's number eight. The eighth point has to do with healing emotions.
That goes right into it.
And a lot of it actually has to do with the physical body. Emotions will work on the physical body. And the spirit, if the physical body can't handle it, you cannot heal the emotion. So a lot of it has to do with getting healthier physically. So you have a body that can back you up when you get dealing with a strong emotion.
Yes.
Go crazy and all this stuff.
Your body reacts to those emotions.
So that's why you have to train yourself with certain meditative exercises. You can handle emotions without it, falling apart on me. Because it doesn't matter how you deal with the traumas and everything. You can't go any further unless you have the strength to handle
Exactly. After my near-death experience, the trauma of the things that happened to my body allowed me to get better at healing by just changing my diet, making sure that I was healthy, and I could handle the spiritual traumas and triggers of healing everything from my past. Because remember, in life, it is your reaction that matters, not the other person. Those emotions are real. Your feelings are not facts, but they are genuine and they are worthy. And you need to have focus and understand these important facts of the spiritual points that we have today.
And as you get more in tuned emotional, you'll be more able to control the desires that are affected by these emotions, things that are how related to negative emotions, and trying to cover them up or numb them.
Numb them. That's a great part of healing. That's the number 8 one. Do not need numbing. You don't need drugs. You don't need food. You don't need alcohol. You don't need things. You need a better diet. You need to understand and focus on the awareness and the healing of where these traumas and triggers have come from.
And if you have strong emotions and you're passionate about the issue, you need to be healthy in order to handle it. And you'll to do that, which is purposeful and healthy, and will bring results in the world rather than getting caught up in these things that sort of like get you disconnected from the world. It's sort of like, I'm doing this because I had a rough day, so I can, sort of like zone out.
Exactly.
But you want to zone in, so therefore you don't want
pay attention.
You don't want habits that zone you out.
That's right. So from Las Vegas, Nevada, our new home out here, Positive Vibes will be asking for you guys to for one wonderful ride that me and Tom have been on with Positive Vibes. We are going to go and explore all of our past videos and do new ones. So stay tuned for all that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please stay tuned. Please share with all your friends.
And let other people know we exist.
Yes, please. And leave comments. We'll leave all the notes of the 8 points on the comments by this video. And please leave your questions or any comments that you have for us.
Thank you very much.
Till next time.